2. JK, the stream's going, Lewis. It's already going. It's been going.
Oh, I need the tweet.
It's been going this whole time. Oh, look who wants
so I can make the toot.
First, I get one person begging for the tweet, and now I got 2 people begging for the tweet. Tweet beggars. You want me to post this in the...
It should be made of mackerel.
Yeah.
Tweets.
I see some bits coming in. Of course, no one's here because no one's expecting us to be live on a Wednesday at this
Why
time.
would anybody? I'm not expecting us to be live on a Wednesday.
And we're live. I have no idea if
Confused.
anyone's going to be here. Let's just send out this tweet. That'll get them coming in. Ready? It's out, Lewis. Don't bother. Oh, my goodness. The thumbnail is totally different. Great looking thumbnail. Wrong episode. That's okay. We'll fix it in post.
Where is it?
Every week, Lewis.
I think you're being shadow banned, man. I'm not seeing you anywhere.
You know what the problem is, Lewis, is that my tweets get delayed because I have Twitter Blue. And so when you send a tweet out, it like adds in a buffer in case you want to untweet it. And as useful as that feature might be, I often find it to be kind of annoying, actually, because you'll send a tweet and it's like, we're going to send this tweet out in 30 seconds. I didn't want it to go out. I didn't want it to go out in 30 seconds. I wanted it to go out now.
Yeah, instead of saying first, you're going to have to say second.
All right. Let's see. Is anyone even here yet?
Cast.
Oh, we got Dogger. He says, I'm here. Surprise for sure. Yep. I know. We're starting different day, different hour. It's because I'm leaving. I'm walking these sweet buns of mine out the door around 11 a.m., 11:15 a.m. ish. I'm going to Disneyland tomorrow. So I'm leaving today. But my problem is I think I might be getting a sinus infection. And I called
Sinus infection.
Can you believe it? And so I'm like I'm super tired. I called the doc and she's like, I don't think it's a sinus infection. She's like, I think you just have allergies. And I'm like, okay. So she gave me some stuff to try. It's not working. And I'm supposed to go to the happiest place on earth. I'm going to be the most miserable person on earth at the happiest place on earth tomorrow.
Like Sneezy, the dwarf.
Yeah, except it's not the sneezes that get me. It's like I feel like I got hit by a Mack truck.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm supposed to be walking 15 miles a day, and I can barely sit upright. This might be a problem.
Sounds like fun.
Right. So, anyway. All right, we got Ryan Harshaw. We got Mario. We got everyone that we need. We got a nice little, tight little package for you guys today. Tight little package. So, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to cue up Mrs. D, and we'll get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D! Speaking of tight little packages, I was with LK last night. Ugh. That was an alley-oop if ever I heard one. Yikes, Mrs. D. Please just don't elaborate on that anymore. Oh, I would like to very much, but let's get going with the show. Yeah, I agree. I also don't want to get taken down from YouTube. So if you don't mind, I think I got everything queued up. We'll get the show rolling. Do I have everything queued up? I guess as good as I'm ever going to. Let's get everything rolling in 3, 2. Hello and welcome to Coldcast, the best 30-plus minute alpha conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Aaron and Elijah. Join me today. They call him the toughest editor in tech. And by they, I mean the state of California, the judge and jury of his peers. He's currently wearing an ankle bracelet. He's also the managing editor of Gold Mag. Lewis Wallace is here.
Pays to accessorize.
Also with us. With typing speeds exceeding 600 words per minute, he's already worn out 4 keyboards this year. He's Cultimac's newest writer, Griffin Jones, is here.
Good evening.
600 WPM. Wow.
That's why I had to get that Model F keyboard. It's the only one hardy and industrious enough to handle these little grubby fingers of mine.
You ever had the keys just spontaneously start melting just because of the friction alone?
It's claimed an Apple, like mushy Apple keyboard or two in my day. I have to switch back to the wired Apple keyboard because my other keyboard is just so enormously loud. I don't want to deafen our beautiful listeners here.
All right, look, we got a shorter show today, but it's full of top quality nuggets here. We got 5 reasons to get excited about Apple's VR AR headset. Seriously, This is the top story on the week. And this is a serious topic that might actually get you excited about Apple's upcoming headset right around the corner. We got some new info on the M3 Pro chip that is going to be coming to MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs in the near future, and near-ish future. And then Griffin had a really popular post this week that I actually learned a few things from, which I don't think happens very often for me because I try not to learn things, but I inadvertently did. 5 hidden features in iMessage that you probably didn't know about. Supercharge your iMessage usage. And if we have time, I'm gonna finally do the HomePod update. I actually had a crazy development this week in the HomePod saga, which blew my mind. And I'm not just saying that for clickbait. It actually did. I was like, I cannot believe this is actually happening. But I don't know if we're gonna have time. So we'll try to. And if not, we'll do that at the end. I know we're always. I feel like. I feel like there actually is no HomePod update. I'm just saying this to get people to stay tuned to the end, which is not true.
I feel like I'm watching the latter seasons of Lost. He doesn't know where he's going with this.
Yeah, I do have a story to tell. Let's see here. Before we dive into all the fun, I want to thank ExpressVPN for supporting this episode. There it is, ExpressVPN. I'm going to teach you guys an ExpressVPN hack that you may not be aware of that's going to save you money and is also going to get you access to a bunch of content that you may not have had access to before. Everyone's got their streaming services. You probably have Disney Plus, Netflix, you got Prime. But when you start using ExpressVPN, you'll be able to get access to a lot of different content that you didn't have access to. And you may even be able to cut back on some of your streaming services fees because you may not need access to as many to get access to all the content you want. See, all these streaming services like Netflix actually have thousands of more shows than you have access to. You just don't see them because they give you different shows depending on what country you're in. So what you see on Netflix here is completely different than what someone in Italy or South Korea sees, for example. But using ExpressVPN, using the app, you can change your online location. ExpressVPN has over 90 countries to choose from. So every time you run out of stuff to watch, you just switch to a new country and poof, all these new shows become available to you. And on top of that, I use ExpressVPN to get discounts. Some services cost less in other countries. I bet you didn't know that. For example, if you buy Netflix from Argentina, it costs a fraction of the price. Seems like it shouldn't work. ExpressVPN hack. At less than $7 a month, ExpressVPN pays for itself and so much more. It's kind of a no-brainer. If you want a lot of content and you don't want to pay more, or you even want to get discounts on your streaming services, you should check out expressvpn.com/cultcast. Don't forget to use our link because it gets you three extra months free. That is expressvpn.com/cultcast, expressvpn.com/cultcast to learn more. I don't know why I'm having so much problems reading URLs today. Okay, let's dive right into it. First of all, I got to say, Midjourney for the win, Lewis. Wow. This is the best. This is the best leading image on cultamac.com, I think. Now, there is one that I created in Photoshop ages ago of Tim Cook. He's cheering, but I added a bag of money to his hands. It looks like he's holding up a giant bag of money. And that one gets used a lot whenever there's a financial earnings call. But I think that this is probably the best one in addition to that. Look at this. I mean, the person who did the prompt here just nailed it. It's Tim Cook, for those of you listening. Sorry. It's Tim Cook wearing Apple's AR headset, standing in front of windows. It looks like it's in some building in some major metropolitan area, and it just looks beautiful. It looks exactly like him, too. I'm telling you.
That was Leander who made that.
It was it real? And Leander, that just shows you how easy it must be to actually manipulate AI artwork. Were you going to say something, Lewis?
He spends hours on it. I think he included shrunken apple head as one of the prompts.
That would be funny if he created a shrunken Tim Cook version, Applehead, shrunken Applehead. I'm not sure how that would look, but yeah. So fantastic image here. Wow. I mean, just it's AI imagery. I've been playing around with it a lot. I know many of you probably know that, and what it's able to accomplish now is just mind blowing. Anyway,
Just another comment on that. I mean, I don't know if you happen to notice it, but the same day we ran this post on the Drudge Report, the lead image was a similar type of thing of Tim Cook, the AI image with that headset. Anyone could do it. Just type in some words and there you go.
I know, it's so easy.
It is getting uncanny.
Although I think a position in the future is going to be prompt engineer. So knowing how to write your prompts to receive your desired output, I think is going to be a skill set. I mean, it already is, because you have to direct these AI engines in specific ways, and you have to know how to talk to them. They might end up making it even easier in the future. So maybe.
And it does help if you also know your
way
way around Photoshop so that you can get it like that last 20% to exactly what you want if it doesn't quite get what you're going for.
That's a good point. I had never really thought about that before. You could take this as a starting point and then manipulate it and get it exactly where you want it. Anyway, great. I'll put it in the show notes if you guys want to check it out. It's just great image. Let's see here. Reason number one why you should be excited about Apple's upcoming AR VR headset. The founder of Oculus is excited. Now, who's this guy? Someone who became a billionaire making VR headsets is excited about Apple's upcoming headset. His name is Palmer Luckey, founder of Oculus VR. He said Sunday on Twitter, "The Apple headset is so good." That's a quote.
That's pretty direct and pretty
powerful
positive.
statement. Makes me think that he might have seen it or used it. Oculus is now a division of Meta, and is the current premier VR headset maker. Luckey didn't explain whether he'd been given additional information on the product, but or any of his sources. But the fact that he says it's so good, I mean, I think implies that he's actually seen it. Ming-Chi Kuo, the best Apple analyst, is also excited. A longtime Apple I just said that. He says, quote, "I think Apple is well prepared for the announcement of this new device." He wrote on Medium, "The headset will soon become the most important new investment trend in the consumer electronics sector if Apple's AR VR headset announcement is better than expected." I don't know. I think that's pretty optimistic, but that's a big if, that people are going to adopt these in droves like Apple's hoping. An early tester, this is actually the one that I think was the most exciting to me. Early tester of Apple AR VR headset is, quote, "blown away." Recently, an anonymous tipster said they spoke with someone who had been able to test Apple prototypes several times and reportedly was, quote, "blown away by the latest iteration of the headset after finding earlier versions disappointing." I thought that was interesting. Quote, "The leap they've made since late last year is giant," the source was quoted as saying. Quote, "I was so skeptical. Now I'm blown away in a take my money kind of way."
That'll be an important feature of the headset. The take my money feature.
Well, the fact that they were disappointed and now they're actually excited, it piques my interest. But of course, the quality of the headset remains to be seen. Number 4, packed with high-end hardware. Apple's AR VR headset is the worst kept secret in tech. Blah, 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 blah. We know. Tipsters say the device will sport 3 high-resolution displays, one of which will be external. It will be powered by a chip on par with the Apple M2 for cutting-edge performance. Many types of sensors will detect the wearer's surroundings and their hands, and even scan their face. And the one thing that I would add to this, which I think was from Alex E. Heath's story for The Information back like years ago when he actually covered this. He was still at The Information at the time, which shows how long ago it was that he said that the digital crown will be used for dialing in the amount of AR or VR you want to see. So it's mixed reality, which, as far as I know, is the only headset that can do that. All other headsets are either AR or they're VR, and you can't dial in the amount of actual reality, AR, that you want. So that's pretty cool.
I've also heard, I think recently, that they're going to have not just one, but like 2 M2 equivalent chips inside this thing.
Wow, one for each eye, maybe.
I mean, it has to drive 2 4K displays and do all that camera processing.
Yeah, that is interesting. That explains the clip to your belt battery pack, which we covered a while back. Which, that's going to be an interesting look. The clip to your belt battery pack, hopefully with. Oh no, it's not going to have MagSafe. I was going to say hopefully with MagSafe, but we heard a rumor that it won't actually have MagSafe because they don't want it to come. They don't want it to come detached while you're wearing it because it's like wearing a computer. You wouldn't want your iMac to suddenly shut off while you're doing some productivity work. Let's see here. And last but not least, plenty of software available at launch. While the hardware certainly sounds cutting edge, the headset will be a dud without a wide selection of useful software. The headset will reportedly come with a range of applications for productivity, collaboration, and plain old fun. These will be displayed to the headset wearer in augmented reality as though they were floating in front of their eyes. While the AR/VR headset is expected to use a new operating system called XROS, it seems the device will be able to run millions of iPad applications right out of the box and somehow turn them into 3D space. The only downside is there's a price for all this fun. This kind of technology doesn't come cheap. So I hope you got 3 G's lying around that you're willing to spend. Which, if it's 3 G's, only the tech publications, only like the major YouTubers and the technorati are going to be buying this headset. You know, that's a lot of money. I mean, 3 G's even rules me out. Like, I mean, for a device that is going to be experimental and probably not super useful, I don't know. I would rather just wait and see what Marquez Brownlee thinks about it. Any commentary? Any commentary, Lewis?
I don't know. I mean, I keep hearing these things. We keep talking about it. I'm super interested, super curious, super skeptical. These latest things, I mean, a lot of the stuff we've talked about before, but getting it all put together in one piece is kind of like, And the more people who've actually said it, or seen it, who say that it's awesome and who don't work for Apple, it's very intriguing.
Intriguing, the perfect word. Well, regardless of how good the headset is, it will never be as good as this image that we have of Tim Cook wearing it on calltomac.com. I'm blown away, man. I am blown away with how good Midjourney is at creating images based off of text prompts. It's just unbelievable. Of course, that's not what the headset's going to look like at all, but that looks like a believable headset to me.
We need to get Leander to add in with an external display. That's the part, the one part of this that just sounds bizarre to me. Where we gonna have like, Memoji eyes on the front of this thing? I just don't quite understand where they're headed with that or what they're thinking.
I don't either.
I'm pretty sure most people aren't going to want to have one of these on when there's anybody else in the room. But I guess maybe that's their whole point, right? They figure out a way that it isn't weird to be sitting there with a, ski goggles on in the middle of your living room.
So it's like digital eyes just blinking.
Your wife and kids are like, "What? Why has Dad been sitting on the couch for 3 hours?" But if you have like the big, cartoon emoji eyes following them around the room.
It'd be cool if you could like magnify them like you can with like those Coke bottle glasses. So when you look at somebody, your eyeballs are like enormous.
Yeah, well, so you're talking about the crown, right? So maybe that's what happens. As you turn from this to that, the display, the exterior display comes on, and that's a cue to people in the room that you can see them now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, that's one of the creepiest things about this whole thing is you've got this black box in your head and you can't see anything, and you might as well be like in a hostage situation, right? But so if you want to actually interact with people who are around you, and you can just go, let's go back to reality, and it's nice for them to know, oh, look, he's back.
The eyes on the front of it still sound just as bizarre and stupid as the first time I read it, but when you put it like that, it does make sense in some weird kind of way.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a good look. I'm just saying it might solve one of the problems of like, I mean, one of the things with Google Glass was always people are like, oh, they could be taking a picture of us. They could do, this whole thing of like, you don't know what's happening. You don't know what this device is doing. That could be a big visual cue that the person inside is, out of virtual reality.
I wonder if there will be any indication to people that you're interacting with that you're recording them or the camera's on or anything like that. I mean, there's just a lot of interesting privacy issues with a headset like this, and this is one of the issues with like Google Glass that cause problems. Is they would just be recording people in real time, or you'd go into a movie theater and now you're able to record everything, covertly. And of course, they don't want you to be able to do that. So it created a lot of strange privacy issues because you're just not really sure if the person you're interacting with is recording what you're saying, or they're recording video, or they're recording like the movie that they're watching or something. So I don't know how all that's going to work. Of course, you'll never be able to wear one of these into a movie theater. But
you just touched on something I've never thought of before.
What's that?
How is the media conglomerates of the industry going to react when anybody can freely record videos again?
Yeah, it's like like the police having their body cams on at all times, and imagine something like that, but in a business situation where you're having conversations that are private and people are saying things that may not be appropriate or whatever. I don't know. There's just a lot of potential situations that could cause problems culturally and for individuals wearing these specific goggles. Anyway, there you go. No one cares. No one cares, Lewis. We try to get them excited. They don't care.
Honestly, the seeing that picture, very similar to our picture, on the top of the Drudge Report, that to me, that was a signifier that this actually is starting to gather some steam, and it's not just people like us talking about this. It's starting to leak out in the outside world, and we've talked a lot about this in the chat, and I think mentioned a couple of articles. But all these things that Apple has released in the past week, all these software things, it's like they don't have room on their agenda because they got to clear the space for this giant, hardware push, right? They got to unveil the headset at WWDC, so you have to get rid of little, toss out little press releases about pretty interesting features.
Yeah, well, time will tell. We only have a month left before, actually less than
It's
a
not
month.
even that. It's like 2 weeks.
I know. Maybe 3 weeks?
2.5.
Before all will be revealed. Okay, well, there's your AR, VR headset news. No one cares, Lewis. Let's just move on. Let's talk about something that people might be more excited about. I mean, I'm excited about it at a low level, but every time we talk about this, viewership plummets, listenership plummets, people just don't care. It's really... I think Apple's got an uphill battle to fight here to make people actually understand what this product is and why you would want it, and certainly why you'd want to spend $3,000 on it, and how it's going to switch the computing paradigm from phones to your face. I don't know, man.
If anyone can do it, Apple can.
Yeah. I just they're going to need to consult with some psychologists, some psychiatrists, how to use.
They've probably got 15 of them on staff.
They probably do. Maybe a wizard or two that can get Gandalf on the staff or something. I don't know.
Wizard.
But... All right, let's talk about M3 because that was another popular story on the site this week. We got some details on the M3 Pro. Now, when I read the details, I was like, yeah, okay. These all add up. Kind of exactly what you would expect, but a popular story nonetheless.
Yeah, it's like, shocker. Apple's next-gen chip is going to be faster and better than the current one.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, bad. So this came about because this has been showing up in like logs, I guess, developer logs. Apple reportedly started internal testing of Macs with M3 chips. At least one variant could feature a 12-core CPU, 18-core GPU, and 36 gigabytes of system memory. This comes, of course, from Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg, who, came up with this latest update on the fact that, yes, indeed, Apple's next chips are going to be faster than their current chips. Based on data from an app developer, Apple's testing at least one, blah, 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 running 12-core CPU running the upcoming Mac OS 14.0. You see, but I already told you other details about the specs. Presumably, entry-level M3 Pro chip is going to, power the next MacBook Pro and other Macs.
Yep.
Let's see. Out of the 12 CPU cores, there are 6 high-performance cores and 6 efficiency cores. For comparison, the M2 Pro packs a similar number of high-performance cores, but only 2 of the lower power efficiency cores. Let's see. That thing also, the M2 Pro also has a 16-core GPU, 2 less than this amazing one that's going to be 2 better. It's similar to the jump between the CPU and GPU scores, but when they moved from M1 Pro to M2 Pro. Let's see. That's pretty much it. That's the specs.
I'm gonna venture a guess.
That's what they're saying.
We'll get a 15 maybe 20% boost in single core speeds. And then they're basically adding 2 cores to the CPU, 2 cores to the GPU over the M2. And so you'll get like a 30% performance boost in multi-core. It's going to be just like the bump from M1 to M2. Actually, it'll probably be bigger because they're switching architectures and they're not just overclocking.
Not only are they adding more cores, they're going to a smaller die size from 5 to 3 nanometers. And like, sure, most of the nanometer processes are kind of marketing because it's not like the entire chip is shrinking down. To 3 nanometers, it's only like certain parts of the chip that they can actually make that small. But still, it'll be a bigger leap than it was from M1 to M2 for sure.
Yeah, the M1 to M2 just kind of seemed like they overclocked it and called it a newer chip. They're like, we just raised the clock speeds, although they did add extra cores too. So there is that.
And even so, like the rate of improvement is like twice as fast as what it was on Intel. Like you would have to wait 2 or 3 years to get like the same 15% improvement boost on when Apple was still on Intel. So their rate of production is still mighty fast for the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Intel was in some years I felt like maybe increasing 5 to 10% in speeds, and that was kind of it. So they're definitely beating out Intel. All right, so there's your M3 news. I hope that you find that exciting because it was a popular story on the site, and I know people are wondering what's next for MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs and all that kind of stuff. Let's see here before we move on.
You know what we didn't do?
Yeah,
we didn't say when they're supposedly going to arrive.
Oh,
didn't get to that part.
Yeah,
these are supposedly first M3 Macs supposedly going to arrive by the end of 2023 or first quarter of 2024. So that's an important thing. If you're thinking about buying a Mac right now, see if you can hold out till the end of 2023, early 2024. If you can't, go ahead right now. There's lots of deals, as we've been talking about for the last couple weeks. Lots of deals on Macs right now.
All over. Yeah. We got Galaxy Star in the chat saying, I will absolutely hand Apple $3,000 for a headset if it can do iPad apps. Well, it looks like Galaxy Star is going to be handing over $3,000. So I hope you're ready to play Candy Crush in 3D, 4D, 5D, all the Ds. Let's see here. If it is just to run iPad apps, I will buy Nreal Air instead, as it's $400. I don't know what that is. The Nreal Air? Is that like a headset or something? Anyway, okay. Before we move on, I'm bringing out the big guns here. You guys ready for this? Look, you guys think that we're some no-name show that no one listens to, no one watches. And I think in certain respects that's actually true.
Ah, jeez.
But not anymore, Lewis. Not anymore. And that's because we're doing some cross-promotion with other podcasts. So we promote them, they promote us. And this week, we have a little show that you may be familiar with, Lewis. And if you're not, well, you might want to check it out. It's called Mac Break Weekly. That's right. Mac Break Weekly. They saw our numbers, and Leo Laporte's face went ghost white, and he said, we got to get our ad on this show. He's like, I need to go full earth. And I said, be careful what you wish for, because I may just give it to you. Mac Break Weekly from Macs, iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, Apple TV, to the ins and outs of Apple shaking things up in tech. You name it. The Mac Break Weekly podcast covers it. Join Leo Laporte with Jason Snell, Andy Inatko, who I call Wolverine's uncle, and Alex Lindsay on the Mac Break Weekly podcast. He looks like Wolverine's uncle, does he not?
Oh my god!
I told him that to his face when I met him at Macworld. He chuckled. They dive into new products, future innovations, and everything Apple related. Lewis can't contain his laughter over there. Get a new episode of Mac Break Weekly every Tuesday by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's Mac Break Weekly. I mean, do I need to say more? The legend Leo Laporte. You know, I once danced with Leo Laporte at South by Southwest. Did I ever tell you that, Lewis?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Was it a tango or?
No, it was one of those, like, you put your arm around their side and then you do like the leg kicks. What is that called?
Like a Russian
burlesque
dance?
It's like burlesque.
Oh, burlesque.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll also say I briefly
Trendsetter.
met Jason Snell at WWDC last year.
Oh, last year.
There was
Okay,
a brief
cool.
moment after the keynote when everybody who was in the crowd was going inside Apple Park at the same time that people in the press were going from upstairs over to the Steve Jobs Theater.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him from like really far away because he's a he's a tall person. I was like,
Leo,
oh,
Leo is. Oh, Jason
Jason
Snell.
Snell.
I don't
Yeah.
remember him being that tall.
I mean, I'm like 5'6", so like everybody's kind of.
Okay.
He's real normal sized.
Yeah, I remember meeting him, and that wasn't. I mean, I remember Leo being tall, but I don't remember Jason being tall. But it's all relative. I'm not the tallest of people either, but all right. So Mac Break
Short
Weekly,
cast.
go check it out. I would say the average cast. Well, I'm average. I'm like 5'10". Lewis is only 5'2". Many of you don't realize that.
Yeah,
and that's in his Al Pacino boots. By the way, I watched The Devil's Advocate the other day, a movie with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. And I kid you not, Al Pacino is wearing like 3-inch heels in that movie. He's wearing dress shoes, but on the back of him, he has a heel that is like this big. I swear it's like 2.5, 3 inches, just so he can be a more menacing figure.
Very devilish.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What do we got next? We got our final story here, I think.
Giveaway.
You didn't even put a giveaway in the notes, did you? Oh, you did.
Go ahead and hit refresh there. Fine. I mean, try and keep up.
No. I got it right here. Let me open this up. You go ahead and start talking about it, Lewis, and I'll bring it up right here.
Yeah, you can get that. So the post isn't up yet, but the giveaway is. You can just go and just you don't even have to mess around with the post. You can just go and enter. So we're giving away five count of five Elkson Quattro Pro 2.0 Apple Watch Ultra cases. They come with a screen protector. It's scratch resistant.
Yeah,
this is all about keep. Like if you have an Apple Watch Ultra. Some people like just sit around at their computers, right? And they got the Alpine Loop to make sure that their mouse doesn't slip out of their hand when they're extra cursor craziness, right? But
when you compute as hard as I do, Lewis, when you compute as hardcore as I do, you need the Alpine Loop.
Point click. Yeah. So if you're actually like outside doing Apple Watch Ultra kind of things like, scaling mountainsides and whitewater rafting and running 300-mile races through the woods and the swamps and all that. Maybe you want to protect the thing so you don't, crack its beautiful screen when you, go over the whitewater rapids and fling your arm into a rock. So that's why this thing exists. You put it on there. It gives it a even beefier look. The thing already looks beefy, right? But $25.99. Keep your Apple Watch Ultra safe and sound from all those, crazy adventurous knocks and dings. We're giving away 5. You can go. Eventually, you'll be able to go to the homepage, scroll down to the giveaway section, click on that, and enter. People who are listening right now could just go straight to the giveaway. This is like a new bonus for you. Straight to the giveaway.
Okay. So is the giveaway post up yet?
I think I just said.
Yeah.
The giveaway post is not up.
Okay.
Giveaway post will be up later, probably today or tomorrow.
Sorry, I was looking for it as you were talking.
It's not there.
Okay,
it's
not
there.
there. I can't find it because it's not there.
Straight to the giveaway. This is a little bonus to the live listeners. You could be the first to enter. Well,
you should listen to the podcast, Airphone. It's pretty good.
I try not to. With all the, I listen to like the Apple Insider podcast, the Mac Rumors podcast. It's like
all at once.
Once I get done with all those, there's no time. There's no time left. So yeah, you just go to cultamac.com. You scroll down to the bottom of the page, and
middle of the page,
see
giveaway
middle of the page, and you'll see the giveaway section.
And if you can't bear to wait, you can go ahead and buy one of these right now in the Cultamac store. They're $25.99. Check your Apple Watch Ultra. I mean, I think costs what? How much did you pay? $700? That's what they cost, right?
I mean, I didn't pay $700, but yeah, that's how much they cost.
You want to? You don't want to bust a $700 watch, so
definitely not. Although it is very robust, but it's not invincible. Okay, cool. There's the giveaway. Let's go ahead and move on to our final Apple news story of the week. Another big story on the site, and you might even learn a thing or two about how to iMessage better. You're probably a novice iMessager at best, but after this segment, you're going to be a pro. Am I right, Griffin?
That's right. Here are 5 hidden features in iMessage. This is an article. There's also a video on the YouTube channel that you can watch, or you can just listen to me right now on this very podcast that you're already listening to. Hey, how about that? Number 1, you can actually put bold text inside of an iMessage. This is like a feature that you have to go in settings and turn on. Yeah, it's like settings, messages, and then you turn on the show subject line field. The subject line of a text message used to be like this like feature back when text messages used to work kind of like email.
Mhm.
Like my first cell phone was this like ancient thing from like 2004 that had the singular logo on it, and like you had to type out like a subject line. I once spent like 5-10 minutes composing a single text message that I had to like send to my dad, only to find out that my cell phone plan didn't support texting at all. That's what it was like before the iPhone. But if you add the subject line, then you can add like a little line of bold text at the top of a message if you want to like say, hey, this is really important, and you'll capture people's attention. Partly because they'll be like, hey, how did you do that? But that's one thing you can do. Number two, you can have a custom vibration pattern for every different contact in your phone. So like, maybe you don't have an Apple Watch, you just have an iPhone. And you have your phone on silent because you're a sane person. Well, if you want to identify who's texting you without even getting your phone out of your pocket, you can create different vibration patterns for every one.
That
So
is
instead of getting like
interesting.
that standard like or like the sort of pattern, you can like create your own that's like a unique rhythm for different contacts. This feature has actually been in iOS since iOS 6, I think, or iOS 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's been in there a crazy long time, and Apple just forgot about it because the settings app is like a junk drawer. They just throw things in there. They never come back out. I actually have an iPhone 4 on me right now where you can create a new custom vibration pattern. You like tap on the screen with like a little
Yeah, I remember that.
rhythm there,
Uh-huh.
and you can stop and play it back. The interface hasn't changed whatsoever. It looks exactly the same today on iOS 16. Anyways, next, filter the messages list. So, you use all these internet services. They all have like two-step verification to sign in where you get all these text messages. You get these robo-texts. If you contribute like once to any sort of political campaign ever in your life, then you're just getting those texts and phone calls for the rest of your life. As like a brief side note, I wish that I would seriously donate like twice as much money if there was an option to be like, okay, I will give you money and never text me ever again.
Yeah, right.
I would do that. But sadly, that's not the world we live in. So you get all these robo-texts all the time. Well, there's another setting you can turn on, settings, messages, and then I think there's like a check mark that says like filter unknown senders. That exposes an extra like level to the messages app. So, you have your list of messages, you can swipe back again, and then it's like filtered by category. So you can choose to only see messages from contacts you can see recently deleted messages, which you can't do otherwise. If you have like the right sort of cell phone carrier, you have a space where you can see just spam messages as they come in. It like keeps your messages list clean automatically for you. It's really handy.
This is one I actually use, and it was a revelation when I found out this existed.
Yeah, yeah. And finally, oh no, not finally.
Almost finally.
Two more fun
But
ways.
ultimately,
One more thing. You can clean up the list of apps. So, as we've joked about on the show, the iMessage App Store, it's where you go to download Game Pigeon once, and then I don't know if there's any other iMessage app that anybody's ever downloaded. But for some reason,
Giphy.
like, oh yeah, Giphy. But like, it's like cluttered, like the little row above the keyboard of all these like
Little
random
ribbon.
icons.
Yeah.
You can scroll all the way to the end of that, and then there's a more button. If you tap that more button, then you can turn all of this junk off. You can just like uncheck it, remove it. I think you swipe on it and you can tap remove from favorites. If you're listening along, you can do that right now with me. It'll clean up the iMessage App Store list. One last thing, number 5. We all might remember Digital Touch as Apple
I
nerds.
honestly didn't know this still existed. I thought this was gone. I thought they just pulled it out and never mentioned it.
Exactly. So on the list of apps, while you're there, you tap on this icon of like a heart with like two like a hand on it or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll have like this little black square. There's another button right next to that with like a camera icon. You tap on that, and then you can record like a 10-second video, and you can draw on it with your finger as it's recording.
And is the drawing animated? So like
It
as you're
is.
playing? Wow.
As you play it back, it'll
Yeah, I had
like
no idea.
redraw it exactly how you drew it. So I came up with a few convoluted reasons you might want to use this. Like if you're at a store and you're not really sure, like, do I get this thing or do I get this thing? You can do like a little clip where you're like drawing question marks or like circles
Yeah.
or something on it, maybe.
Huh.
This is so weird. When I was looking over this post, I was like, I've never heard of this. I've never the interface is a little bit odd. It doesn't work exactly like you might think, but it's kind of weird.
It's
It is weird looking into all the nooks and crannies of these apps. It's like, what in the world?
Sadly, they are ephemeral. You send them once, and I haven't found any way to get them into your photo library if there's something you want to keep.
Oh,
But
so you can only send them, and then after that, you can't actually do anything. Really?
it's like the voice messages where like you send them once and they're supposed to just disappear.
That is odd.
That's how the whole thing was when the Apple Watch first came out, right? You said the fleeting little heartbeat thing.
Yeah, that was
Very
literally
weird.
all you could do with it.
Digital touch.
Oh, it's so weird. I try not to think about those times.
So if you enjoyed this list, subscribe to the Cult of Mac YouTube channel. You'll get video versions of fun little lists like these every single weekend.
Oh yeah, you're putting out some tips every weekend?
Oh yeah,
That's
right.
That's a great idea. That's a great
You
idea.
you should subscribe to Cult of Mac Airphone.
Yeah, check it
Good-
out.
Good content there.
I think I'm like a manager of the Cultimac channel. I should turn on notifications or something.
Jeez.
All right, cool. Well, there are actually some nuggets in here. Griffin, good job. I did know about one of these, but I'm a pro user, so I mean, no big deal.
You only
But some
knew
of this
one,
other
huh?
stuff, but I only knew one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the rest of the stuff was actually new, so I could see why this was, I think, the most popular story of the week on Cultimac. Very cool.
Well, geez, it is a app that everybody uses every day, right?
I know, 1,000 times
It's
a day.
awesome.
Well, I will plug one other thing that you can do as of just recently. If you're a Windows user, I can't believe this actually works as well as it does. I've been trying it out. See, like, people always make fun of me for bringing up these tips, but I know that there are some of us that have to use Windows or use Windows in addition to our Mac stuff or our iPhones. And there is an app that Windows just updated called PhoneLink, and they just added iPhone support. So, and it also works with Android. So you can connect your phone to your PC, and you can send iMessages. You can make calls from your iPhone. You can receive notifications from your iPhone. And I was playing around with it the last couple of days, and I was like, holy moly, this works pretty well. And it will actually show you your past messages as well. Now, it's not perfect. I mean, you can't do everything in PhoneLink that you could do in iMessage, but you can send texts. And if you're on a PC all day and you don't like typing on your phone like I don't, then you can just connect your iPhone and then you can respond to text messages, from your PC whenever you need to, and you don't need to grab your phone, which is actually extremely handy. So I'll plug that as well. PhoneLink in the or on Windows. You already have the app installed on your Windows machine. It might be Windows 11 only.
Windows 11 only.
Okay, so it's Windows 11 only. And it was in beta forever, the iPhone functionality, and they just turned it on for everybody. So if you tried it before and you couldn't access it, now it's available for everyone. And dude, it's a cool feature. I mean, I love it when they build Mac and iPhone features into Windows that actually work well. They built the iCloud Photo Manager, or not Photo Manager, although they do have that in Windows. But they have the password manager, so you can use your iCloud passwords on Windows, which I find to be pretty useful because most of my passwords are stored on my iPhone or Mac. So there's some cool little plugins that you can get that will make computing in Windows easier, make your life a little bit better.
And in Chrome on Windows, you can get an iCloud keychain extension for Chrome.
Yeah.
So that you can use your iCloud keychain just to automatically sign into everything.
I
as easily.
I just said that. See, it's not.
It's separate from iCloud for Windows. I think it's a separate thing you have to install.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. That is something that if you want to get it working, you have to install the plugin, like Griffin just said. Because iCloud is the app, and then you have to enable it in the app, and then you also have to install the plugin. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but it actually takes like 2 minutes to set up. Okay, should we do the iPad story real fast? I'll tell it real quick. So many of you know, not the iPad story, the HomePod story.
I was like, what is he talking about?
The HomePod story. So I'll do the HomePod story update. For those of you who've been asking about it, one of my HomePods died. I couldn't believe it. Like, I did the comparison video of the new stereo HomePods versus the V1. And then maybe a week later, I came into the Cult Command Center, and one of my original HomePods, the volume buttons on it were just blinking on and off, on and off, on and off. And I tried to stream to it. I couldn't connect to it, couldn't do anything with it. And I was like, what the heck's going on? So I started doing research, and I guess sometimes when your HomePod dies, this is what it starts to do. So I went through all the troubleshooting stuff on Apple's support website, couldn't get it working. So I call Apple support. And Apple support says, well, the first thing we need you to do is access the USB port on the bottom. I was like, whoa, there's a USB port on the bottom? I had no idea. And so she starts trying to walk me through the process, and I think she slowly realizes there is no USB port on the bottom of the HomePod. This lady had no idea what she was talking about.
What?
She had no clue. So she's like, well, have you tried these things? And I literally said, I hope you're not about to walk me through the steps that are available on your support website, because I tried all that stuff. So she ignored that comment completely and then proceeded to walk me through all the steps on Apple's support website, none of which worked. So at that point, she said, you're going to have to go into the store, and they have more tools available in the store. So go in there and have them check out your HomePod. Okay. So I go in there, and super nice guy. He's like, oh, we might be able to fix this thing up for you. And I was like, can you do it here, or do you have to send it away? He's like, oh no, we pretty much do everything here. He's like, so we can't fix it here. It's bricked. So he starts trying to do some of the same support stuff that she mentioned. None of it works. He takes it into the back, and he brings it out, and he's like, I think I was actually able to reset this thing. And when I tried to bring my phone close to it, it tried to pair to my phone. I was like, no way. How did you do that? I should back up and also say, I read that if you leave the HomePod unplugged for a long length of time, that it sometimes fixes software issues. And my working theory is that it tried to do a software update and it somehow failed. And because Apple is unable to connect to your HomePod, at least the V1, with a wire, if any network issue happens, then it's just bricked. They can't do anything with it, which is unbelievable to me. So he brings it out, and he's like, try to pair your phone to this. And I couldn't get it working. So we try to reset it again, which involves unplugging it, plugging it back in, and then you touch the top, and the little white spinning light turns to red, and then it resets. And we were able to reset it again. But it still won't pair to my phone. We try a couple more times, and he's like, take it home and try it at your house. He's like, I think there's too many devices in here interfering with the process. And I was like, oh, okay. So he couldn't fix it, and I take it home, and I try to pair it. Doesn't work. So I just unplug it, leave it unplugged. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this thing? I'm probably going to throw it away. So yesterday, I try to, on a whim, plug it back in, and the white light, the spinny white light comes on, which hadn't been happening before. Like, it was the volume buttons blinking on and off, totally unresponsive. So I try to reset it. I press the top, and it starts spinning red, and then it says, your HomePod is about to reset. Wait for the 3 beeps. Beep, beep, beep. And it totally resets. I was like, this is unbelievable. It's actually working. And so it resets itself, and once the reset is finished, the white light is spinning on top again, and I bring my iPhone close to it. The HomePod setup menu comes up, and it's like, would you like to set this HomePod up in a stereo pair? And I was like, I was so surprised. I didn't really think very much about it. I was like, no, I'm going to set it up as a single HomePod. And it's like, would you like to transfer settings? And I was like, yes. So transferring settings can take a while. So I left and I came back, and the volume buttons were blinking again.
Oh.
But it acted completely normal. Like, it even did the sound quality beeps. Like, it went boom, 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 boom. Like it's testing the room to see how the audio sounds in the room, so it could set itself up. It made it to the very, very, very end of the process. And so I think what maybe screwed it up was transferring settings. Like, for some reason that threw it off. Or it could be that it was trying to access my Wi-Fi and that threw it off. I have no idea. But so I have hope. I'm going to try unplugging it again, leaving it unplugged for another indeterminate length of time, maybe like 2-3 weeks, and then trying the whole process again. But this time, I'm not going to transfer settings. I'm going to just set it up as a new HomePod. And if that works, I'm going to be dumbfounded. I don't think it's going to work. I do think that it probably has a hardware problem. Because why would it not? Why can we get it this far and have it keep failing? But it seems like there's a little bit of hope here. So I haven't given up yet because I was ready to tear the thing apart and just use it as a prop. Like I was gonna just completely rip off the white fabric on the outside and then like pull off whatever's inside there and just leave it exposed so that you could see like the speakers and everything as like an artifact of, Apple history. But I'm not quite there yet because, like I said, when I was setting it up, it worked perfect. Even the audio all worked perfect. Like the thing clearly works to some degree. It just won't connect to my phone or my network or whatever, and I don't know why. So there you go. There you go. And that's
Maybe you
quite
should
an
try
odyssey.
resetting it again from start and then set it up as a new device rather than transfer settings.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But the thing is, so my theory is it has some kind of like rechargeable battery inside that keeps the settings in memory. And so if you leave it unplugged for a long enough of time, that battery eventually dies. And then when you reboot it, it just starts off, fresh to some degree. Because I don't know why leaving it unplugged for any length of time would fix anything. Like if it worked like a computer, that wouldn't matter because everything's written to, some kind of non-volatile memory like SSD or something. So it seems like it's holding something in its memory that it needs power for. And, like my motherboard, every motherboard has a battery installed on it so that if the power dies in your PC, when you finally turn it back on, all your motherboard settings are preserved. And if you take the battery out and you unplug it, when you plug the computer back in, the motherboard, I think, resets itself to like its default state or something. So I think there's something similar going on in the HomePod. There's some kind of battery, rechargeable battery in there, which is the only explanation I can think of for why it would actually change the behavior if you left it unplugged. I don't know how many people care about old HomePods, but I'm trying to revive this thing. If that doesn't work, I'm going to try CPR. I haven't tried CPR yet, mouth to grill, but
Jeez.
I can't give up hope. I love these speakers too much. And like I've said before, comparing the new HomePods to the old HomePods, there's just something missing. There's just something missing. But you know what, Lewis? You know what, Griffin? That's it.
Something else missing.
The music.
You.
The music is no longer missing. Yeah, I'm about to go missing. So there's the music. Thank you all for listening live and joining us a day early. I think people are going to be surprised when we don't come online tomorrow, but maybe not. Anyway, that's all the Coolcast we have for you guys this week. The party continues on Twitter. I'm at Erfont, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. Just search Griffin on Mastodon. He'll be the first name and person that pops up because he's literally the only Griffin there. This has been the Coolcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Coolcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening live and listening to the audio version. I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next time. I think we're actually 30 minutes this week. Never mind. No, we're not. We're close to an hour. We're just farther away from 60 minutes than we usually are.
You have two Midwesterners on here. We're never going to do 30 minutes ever again.
Maybe if we just
last
did
week
one
we kept
story.
talking for like an extra 5 minutes after you left the call too.
Maybe if we planned for the show to be 5 minutes and we'll just do one story, maybe we could get it to 30 minutes. Maybe we should do that next week. We'll just do one story and then we'll call it good. All right, everyone. I'm hurtling towards the end stream button as we speak. About to head out to the happiest place on earth. Hopefully I'll be happy while I'm there. We'll see what happens.